All right, so we are around 2 weeks away from the draft. And now combining free agency, draft picks, and signing undrafted free agents, we can say the roster's almost complete for the Chargers, if not 100%. And now, it's the best time to evaluate the entire roster. Whose stock is going up, who's going down, who's moving up the depth chart, who might be on the chopping block, and maybe, most importantly, who's running out of chances. So, let's go and check it out. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. Okay, the very first name I desperately want to mention, who's getting a big push, Tyler Conklin. And let me be clear, this isn't just because he's a veteran, okay? It's because the draft board gave him a massive win. Let me explain it. We didn't see any big-name tight ends the Chargers landed in this draft. When the Chargers' first pick came, almost all big names were gone. Elijah Arroyo, Mason Taylor, Cade Stover, Terrence Ferguson, so they moved to different positions. Then in the 5th round, they eventually drafted Oronde Gadsden, and I like it. He's got potential. He's a vertical threat, wins contested balls, brings a lot of athletic upside. But let's be honest, he's not going to come in and take over. His role is going to be specific, probably a red zone or seam route guy. So, what does that mean? It means Tyler Conklin walks into training camp as the unquestioned tight end one. Conklin is going to lead the room in targets. He's already the most polished, most consistent pass catcher in the group. He's going to be that safety valve for Justin Herbert, and I think that matters in Greg Roman's offense. Now, the question is, could Conklin put up a career year? I wouldn't go that far. We will see this. He had 621 yards with the Jets in 2023 and no touchdowns. That's probably his peak. With the weapons the Chargers have, I don't see him matching that yardage, but 5 touchdowns and around 500 yards, totally within reach. In fact, that'd be a great season in this offense with so many mouths to feed. But bottom line is, his stock's up. He's clear tight end one. No real threat behind him right now. Okay, now speaking of jobs that are way more secure than people think, let's talk about Bradley Bozeman. Now, I know some fans don't want to hear this. They're all in on Andre James winning that job at center. And look, I agree. I think Andre James is the better player. I think his 2024 tape is cleaner. His pass protection is more stable. But let's not ignore what's actually happening here. The Chargers handed Bozeman a multi-year deal. He's got a $5 million cap hit. Andre James? Vet minimum. This team is telling us what they think. And based on the contract and the way this staff talks about Bozeman, I'd be shocked if he's not the starting center in week 1. Would I love to be wrong? Sure, but the writing's on the wall. They believe in Bozeman. They love his leadership, and they're not bringing in anyone else to compete with him. That says a lot. And that brings us to Zion Johnson because he's the other interior lineman whose situation is complicated. Let's just say it outright. The Chargers declined his 5th-year option. That's not nothing. It doesn't mean they're giving up on him, but it tells you they're not ready to commit long-term. Still, with no real competition brought in at guard, Zion is your locked-in starter at left guard. They didn't draft a starting caliber guard. They didn't sign one, and they sure didn't bring anyone in who's going to push him in camp. There's been a lot of chatter about moving Zion Johnson to the center. That talk's been floating around since last year. But again, they signed Andre James. You don't sign a pure center like James just to stash him while you experiment with Zion at a new position. It's not happening. Zion is staying at left guard, and it's probably his last shot to prove he's part of the future. If he steps up, great. If not, he'll hit free agency next offseason. Simple as that. Now, let's flip over to wide receiver because Quentin Johnston has become one of the most polarizing players on this team. Is it stock up? Is it stock down? Honestly, it's both. Depends on how you look at it. Let's start with the good news. With the addition of guys like Trey Harris and Keandre Lambert-Smith, Johnston doesn't have to line up on the boundary and go toe-to-toe with shutdown corners. That's not his game. We saw that in the playoffs. We saw it all year. He's not a 50-50 ball winner. He's not going to dominate one-on-one with elite man coverage. But in a role that fits his skill set, he can be effective. Think short drags, shallow crossers, screens, posts, stuff that lets him work in space and use his burst. That's where he was most comfortable last season, especially in the second half when Greg Roman started moving him around more. He's probably wide receiver 3 or 4 now, but that's fine. Not every first-round pick turns into a wide receiver 1. Some guys are just better as complementary pieces. And I think Johnston can still be that. Now, one guy who's definitely in trouble is Jasir Taylor. Last year, he was gifted the starting nickel job. No competition, just walked right into it. This year, a whole different story. You've got Derwin James playing a ton in the slot. You've got Tarheeb Still, Elijah Molden, and 2 rookies who can both play nickel. That's a crowded room. On top of that, Jasir Taylor's special teams play slipped last year. Multiple penalties, some bad coverage reps, just not the same guy. And here's the kicker. This coaching staff didn't draft him. He's not one of their guys. That makes him even more vulnerable. If he doesn't shine in training camp, he could be a surprise cut. I'm not saying it's a lock, but the pressure is definitely on. Let's shift back to offense for a second and talk about Brenden Rice. I wanted to believe the hype. I really did. 7th round pick, NFL bloodline, flashes in camp. There was reason to hope. But let's be honest, he never separated himself. He didn't play special teams. He wasn't a reliable returner. And when they needed bodies late in the year, they elevated Jalen Reagor instead of him. That tells you where he stood. This year, the wide receiver room is even deeper. Mike Williams is back. Ladd McConkey is a lock. Darius Davis is a return specialist. You've got Trey Harris and Lambert Smith in the mix, too. I don't see how Brenden Rice makes this roster unless he has a monster preseason. Best case scenario for him? Practice squad. And even that's going to be competitive. Okay, now let's hit on the running back room. There's a lot of talk about Kimani Vidal and whether he can hold off Raheim Sanders. I'm going to be real with you. I still think Vidal has the edge. He flashed as a rookie. He's got good vision, can catch out of the backfield, and he runs hard. But the problem with him? Special teams. He didn't bring any value there last year, and that's going to hurt his case. Raheim Sanders, meanwhile, is raw. I get the upside. He's big fast, can break a run wide open, but the tape shows he's got a long way to go. I don't think he beats out Vidal unless something crazy happens. That said, the RB4 job might not even be active on game days. Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton are going to carry the load. Hassan Haskins can contribute on special teams. That leaves Vidal fighting for a roster spot that may not even exist if they go light at the position. So where does all this leave us? Honestly, in a spot that feels more competitive than last year. The depth has improved. The roster feels younger, faster, and in some areas, a lot tougher. But we're also seeing some hard truths. Zion Johnson and Quentin Johnston were once supposed to be cornerstone players. Now they're trying to earn a second contract. Jasir Taylor and Brenden Rice are fighting for jobs. And guys like Vidal are hanging on by the thread of preseason reps and special teams value. That's the reality of the NFL. It moves fast. And now the Chargers are trying to reshape this roster under a new regime. I like where things are trending. The draft didn't fix every hole, but it gave us clarity on what the front office values and which players are getting one more shot before the team moves on. Training camp's coming, and there's going to be real competition this year. And that's how it should be. So, what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section.